Welcome to RotoWire TV. I'm Heather. He's the expert, Chris Liss, answering our fantasy football and baseball questions. However, we're going to be doing a lot of Survivor stuff this year, right?
Oh, right. Survivor leagues, right?
Yeah.
I meant to talk about that with you.
Exactly.
Right.
So
this is my number one thing.
I know.
Number one thing.
I know.
Each week, your fantasy team loses, you go win next week. It's no big deal. Make a pickup on the waiver wire. You lose some bets. Okay, you double down next week with your bookie. You know, doesn't matter. He breaks your leg. It's no big deal. It heals. Survivor, you lose, you're out. It's done.
God, and it is so fun. And I mean, this is like year 3 or 4 in my Survivor pool, and it's just a blast. However, I was talking to a friend of mine who was asking me what a Survivor pool was, and I realized that we're probably going to be doing a lot of 101 here at RotoWire TV, talking about Survivor.
To start, yeah.
And when I explained it to him in the bare bones, after explaining it to him, he said, well, my gosh, so you kind of have to look at the whole season and really do some strategy because you can only pick a team once. And I was like, no, not necessarily. I just wanted you to briefly, how would you have answered him if he had said to you, well, you know, do I need to look on down the road and really plan out who I'm going to pick?
That is like the first novice move, right? Because everybody's, plays fantasy who does these pools. They're kind of game theory savvy. They're like, okay, I'm going to game the system. How do I figure this out? And Survivor, just the basic rules, you got to pick a winner this week, right? No point spread, nothing. You know, there's 16 games going on this week. I have to just pick one team that's going to beat another team. Well, easy. The Patriots are 14-point favorites against the Dolphins. I'm going to pick the Patriots. Great. They win, I get through. But the catch is you can't use the Patriots ever again.
And that's so funny because he said to me, well, why wouldn't you pick the Patriots every week? And I was like, because you can only pick them one time. And it was like,
right. And then it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So then the next thought in somebody who's done games and knows the NFL is like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down the schedule backwards from week 17, and I'm going to figure out the best team each week and not counting any twice. That is a very big mistake, and it's what a lot of novice Survivor players do. And the reason it's a mistake is twofold. One is, okay, it's hard to know. How many times have you looked at a game the day before, it's Patriots against the Dolphins or some good team against a scrub team, and the scrub team either comes very close or actually wins, and you're like, wow, I never could have imagined that happening, that they would beat them. And it happens all the time. 14-point favorites lose all the time. About 10% of the time. And 10%, you think it's a small number. If you were on an airplane and there was a 10% chance that it would crash, you would get off. 10% is not an acceptable risk, right?
Right.
So 10% is a regular occurrence. So, okay, so these teams that we know from just this week, that we know everything about them, who's healthy, who they're playing, what's going on, how their personnel are doing, we still aren't sure enough to even call anything with more than 90% certainty this week. We'll try to call it 12 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know who's going to be healthy. You don't know how those teams are going to be playing. You don't know the team that you think is a doormat that they're playing against might be a playoff contender.
Dude, I think the first week is the hardest.
I agree.
First week is so hard. You have no idea what any team looks like yet.
I play it super safe in the first week.
How safe?
I want the biggest favorite. I want the baddest team, the veteran teams, the Tom Brady-led teams, the Drew Brees-led teams. I don't want to mess around with some team that's supposed to be good or count on another team being bad. You know, if you think Cincinnati's going to be terrible last year, and they were terrible in the preseason, they made the playoffs last year. I mean, do not mess around in week 1. And it's terrifying for me because I write the article. We're going to be doing these videos on this very topic. And if I'm wrong in week 1, I mean, people are going to just despise me. I'm going to ruin their entire season.
Yeah, but I know that there's a lot of knowledge behind those words. And I don't.
I've never lost
nice
week
things
1.
To him.
No, well, thank you, but I've never lost week 1. But I'm always crapping my pants about week 1. Please get me through week 1. 2 years ago, I lost week 2, and I didn't think it was the best game on the board. It was my pot odds play. That's sort of the more advanced Survivor discussion.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that
yes.
Advanced non-bandwagon strategy.
Right.
But for now, don't look ahead. Play 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
This is RotoWire TV.